So, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining
us. Yeah, we'll be around later. All right, cheers, mate.
Okay. So, video's getting a lot of attention. Obviously, the ad rates are higher there. That makes it a little bit more attractive. What do you think are the 2 or 3 main things publishers have to think about when they're thinking about what their overall video strategy is going to be?
Well, first of all, it's how do I scale? Yeah, the quiz isn't just yet. Oh,
this is the sort of voice.
It's Matt Jones.
Voice within us.
Matt Jones.
Yeah, is he here?
At least Chris isn't in the restroom. That's the upside for all of us.
All right, let's ask Chris
what
he thinks about
through.
the biggest challenge with online video is we want it to replicate what we can do with television, and the biggest challenge we have with digital video in getting broadcast is that scale, right? So publishers really have to think about what type of ecosystem can I form or join so that I can scale my proposition. It's great to have these really high CPMs, but I think what you find with a lot of publishers in the early stages of the video, they kind of look at, well, I've got this $25, £25, €25 CPM, and they get comfortable with that, and it's hard to share that. But the reality of it is that if you really want to scale your proposition, you have to partner with great content producers and platforms that can help you really get more eyeballs on your content or get more eyeballs to your pages, right? So that might involve doing rev shares, but you have to look at it in a way of 2 million views at a 60-70%. Is better than 50,000 views at a 100% of a 25 euro CPM.
I mean, is it an either-or thing?
Well, if you're someone like in the UK, ITV, yes, you can kind of organically drive those type of views to your content, but the reality of it is that you don't. In online, you can't exist as a television channel. You're one of thousands and thousands and thousands of channels. So if you want to get people to your content, it's really hard. So then you have to create really good content. But to create content is really expensive. It's really inefficient if you want to get people to your site and have content that's relevant to the minute, which is what your users expect. So the best way to do it is to partner with great content producers who are already producing that at scale, right? So, that's, hopefully you're familiar with what we do at AOL, is we're first and foremost a platform, right? We're joining content producers like ESPN, Discovery, with publishers like The Telegraph and New York Times, right? And we're all doing a rev share, and it's great, but it allows us to scale a proposition. It allows the content producers who are experts in doing that to get their ROI in producing that, and the publishers to capitalize on all the great eyeballs they have, right? And then you have a platform, you have a sales team like we have, or you can leverage the publisher sales team. We can help you with that monetization funnel. And I'm not saying AOL is the only solution. There's other ecosystems out there. YouTube is one of them, obviously. They're not exactly publisher friendly. But they are a model that you're going to see.
Why do you say that?
Well, because
see an opportunity for a fight.
But in many cases, YouTube will say, "Hey, I have no problem with you ripping my content. Put it wherever you want, but my pre-roll is going to run in front of it." And that's what you see with the multi-channel networks. A couple of years ago, they said, "Well, we're not actually going to pay you for getting those views." But there are ecosystems out there that say, "Hey, your eyeballs, so we're actually going to give you the lion's share of the revenue that we derive from this." And the content producers take a share too, but a smaller share because they're more scalable, right?
Yeah. It seems like one of the fundamental characteristics of video that's opposite from display is that there's a supply and demand imbalance, but in display, there's far too much supply for the demand, and that in video, in some cases, there's more demand than there is supply. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, supply of like quality.
Of quality, exactly. Yeah. And what's the bar that a publisher you kind of put on quality, right? And for a lot of people, it's non-user generated content. That's certainly what I would say is the best measure. And that's certainly what's driving up CPMs. But producing quality content is really difficult for traditional publishers and traditional digital publishers, which we now have, which is kind of funny. But the fact is that if you're a news publisher and there's a massive story like Lindsay Lohan does a bunch of drugs and gets arrested. So
is that even a big story nowadays?
Yeah, that's right. So Lindsay Lohan does a good deed.
Okay.
Right? So your readers are gonna go to that article, and a few years ago they would be annoyed if front and center was a video, but now that's completely reversed, and in fact they will read about it. But if there's a drop off there, then if there is no video, they'll drop off. They'll go to YouTube and find the video, and even linking to that video doesn't work because you're still driving away from that experience that they're comfortable with. So do you have a partner which can A, provide you a player, B, get you that content of that video, and C, help you monetize it? I mean, I think that's the way we really have to start thinking, is that video on every page, yes, but how do you get an editor to put video on every page if it isn't A, B, C easy? It's not because they're lazy. It's because they didn't go to school and get trained on using semantic search engine queries and stuff like that, right? So I think it's really time as publishers, we have to go, okay, who can we partner right now with? Maybe in 5 years we'll learn how to do it ourselves, and by then we'll be kicking in full swing. But right now we're kind of in that nether regions where you could really partner with some great ecosystems to get your views and your monetization up.
What's your position on autoplay?
On autoplay? Can't stand it.
Why? I love it.
I mean, for a lot of the targeting that's happening now, like for example with Adapt TV, which is our platform, monetization platform. Any programmatic user can choose whether or not they want their advertisement to run in autoplay, right? So there's that, and B, it's just it's just a terrible user experience, right?
But do you think Facebook is going to autoplay?
Autoplay without sound, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is that becoming sort of the new norm? In that autoplay was thought of as a very intrusive.
Yeah, I would only say that autoplay is effective when it's clearly called out that the experience is a video experience, right? So I'm not going to say that Huffington Post never does autoplay, but it clearly says in brackets video, so that it's not a disruptive experience for the user. They know what they're going to. They're actually reaching out for that content. But any type of standard editorial content that drives through. What's the one?
I think so.
That drives through to an editorial page with an advertising trick, basically, that'll get a free roll running. I mean, users are savvy to that. And I think with digital, we are in the media more. Users know what we're doing when we do things like autoplay.
Okay. One of the things that was brought up earlier was the issue of fraud. How big of a concern is that for the growth of the video advertising? Obviously, where there's more money, there will be more fraud, I would guess. If I was in fraud, that's what I would do. Not that I am.
Yeah. I mean, fraud obviously is a big issue for...
Yep. Switching of guns. Well, I don't want to make you feel self-conscious.
So fraud is obviously a big issue for any publisher, advertiser. agency. I think the biggest issue that we're having now is, having standards across the board for video. I mean, it still is relatively new. And if we can come to an agreement with, for example, with the IAB on viewability, on what counts as a fraudulent click, et cetera, then we'll be in a lot better position to satiate our advertisers' need for viewability and those types of things. I don't think we're there yet, but I think with a lot of the developments in advertising technology, which is what we're going to have to rely on to get there, we're not too far off.
Yeah. What do you think is going to be the one sort of big development in video in 2015?
I think it's the ability for publishers to use one platform to deliver both content that is pre-rolled sponsored and advertorial, so branded syndication. Right now, I think that a lot of publishers are dipping their toes into the water of branded videos, but they're not being delivered advertising opportunities in an automated way, right? They're kind of saying, well, on this page we're going to allow for branded syndication. On this one we're going to have content, and we're going to have pre-rolls running in front of that. I think there's a lot of convergence between the two advertising mediums now, and that's what we're going to see this year and the next.
All right, here's a twist on the question. What do you think? What is one thing that people are predicting will happen in 2015, but won't?
Let's see. I guess it's maybe the year of mobile. No, just joking. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot more focus on rich media video now, and I don't know if that's what's going to tip the books this year. I think it's still going to be better products that align with TV, because there's so much focus on taking TV budget, right? And going out and pitching broadcasters on rich media right now still is difficult because they don't totally understand the proposition. So I think it's really going to be more products that align with television, and things like concurrent advertising with what you have on the telly and what you have on your iPad. Those are still going to be focuses this year, and it's not going to be so much the engagement metrics that everyone's calling for. Okay.
I wanted to open up to questions real quick before the game show. I know we still have one microphone. Any of your video questions? Okay, cool.
Not as hot a topic as I thought it would be.
It's a hot topic. People want to get to the game show. That's when the cocktails come out. Mark, thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.